His fingers slid over her smooth skin. Each kiss was passionate, down her neck, her shoulders, and deeper. The soft sounds from Lucy's throat echoed in the darkness, sensual but also mysteriously controlling, as if she had everything under control. Axel tightened his grip on Lucy, pulling her into his arms with all the pent-up desire. His lips found hers, kissing her fiercely like someone finding water in the desert. Their kiss was no longer gentle or reserved, but burning like a fire of desire. Lucy returned the kiss with equal fervor, her soft lips melting in each urgent kiss. Hello everyone, welcome to our channel, where we will bring you the most interesting and dramatic stories in life. We will take you from one surprise to another. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any episodes. If you love Jane, you can go to the playlist to find Jane's other channels. In today's video, we will bring you the story of Miss Lucy. Please follow along. The sky had just brightened, and dew was still covering the green tea hills. Axel, the strongest young man in the area, was carrying a heavy bag of tea from the valley. Axel was not the handsome type like in Korean movies, but the beauty of a quiet village with dark skin and rippling muscles that shone like headlights, and his white teeth stood out even when he smiled. Lucy, the new owner, appeared different. Her beauty was like a goddess in the mortal world. A tight white maxi dress, elegant high heels. However, the rocky road made Lucy's every step like a tilted balance dance. "Excuse me, is this the way to the top of the tea hill?" Lucy smiled and asked Axel. Axel turned around, stuttering. Lucy's dress was blown by the wind, revealing her white legs. Axel stood there, holding the tea bag tightly in his arms, smiling. "Miss, your skirt is flying." Lucy was startled, lowered her skirt, her face red. But she wasn't angry, just laughed. "This boy has sharp eyes." "Yes, it was just the strong wind, I didn't mean it. But everything is so beautiful." Axel turned away awkwardly, his ears red. After the first meeting, Lucy invited Axel to be her guide to survey the resort construction site. Today, Lucy wore a tight red dress with a daring waist. Axel walked ahead and thought, "This dress must be so tight that it's hard to breathe. How can I walk in those high heels?" Looking back, Axel was startled. Ouch! Lucy tripped over a rock and fell. But this fall was not gentle. The red dress inappropriately lifted up, revealing her fair thighs. "Miss, are you okay?" Axel ran over to help, but his eyes couldn't help but glance at her long legs. Lucy stopped, met Axel's eyes and smiled. "What are you looking at so creepy? Are you planning to help me or stand there and enjoy it?" "Yes, I'm just worried." Axel was confused and pulled Lucy's dress up, his face gradually turning red. Lucy laughed out loud. "It's beautiful, right? If you like it, just say so." Axel scratched his head and ears, not knowing how to answer. He just smiled and thought to himself, "So beautiful." By late afternoon, Lucy was exhausted from climbing the hill. She stopped to rest in a small alley, looked at the clear water, then lifted her skirt to soak her feet. From afar, Axel saw her, his eyes wide open. "Miss, be careful with your feet," Axel shouted loudly, but his eyes still did not leave the scene before him. Lucy turned around, caught Axel's curious gaze and said in a loud voice, "What are you looking at so deeply? Have you never seen anyone soak their feet before?" Axel smiled shyly. "Yes, I saw it, but what's the difference?" Lucy asked, her eyes shining with interest. Axel was confused. What? Yes, different is more beautiful than others." The sincere statement made Lucy laugh. She shook her head, continued to play with the water, leaving Axel alone, completely confused. "Oh my God, why are you so beautiful? How can I concentrate on work here?" In the afternoon, it rained heavily. Lucy and Axel had to take shelter in an abandoned house in the middle of the grassland. Both of them sat down tiredly on an old chair. "Going back to the countryside is really hard. My feet hurt so much," Lucy complained. "Do you have any way to help?" Axel boldly replied, "Let me show you." Without saying anything, Axel sat down comfortably, placing Lucy's feet on them to examine them. Axel's rough fingers touched Lucy's skin, startling her, but she did not pull her feet back. "You're really good. You must have learned massage in the past," Lucy joked. Axel chuckled and replied absent-mindedly, "No. When I was little, my grandmother taught the girls in the village how to relieve foot pain." That made Lucy giggle. But then she suddenly realized that Axel's eyes were on her skirt. Lucy adjusted her skirt and asked, "What are you looking at? Are you thinking about something else?" Axel honestly replied, "No, I was just thinking that many people would run after you." Lucy laughed. "I think many, but if it's you, I might have to run after you." Axel was stunned, not knowing if Lucy was joking or not. He just scratched his head and laughed. Today, the two planned to explore the highest peak in the area, where the villagers said that whoever climbed there would become 10 years younger. With her spirit ready, Lucy decided to wear a looser dress for easier movement. Axel walked ahead, thinking to himself, "Although it's still pretty, how can I climb halfway up the hill with such a tight dress?" Lucy held onto a small tree by the side of the road, but unfortunately she stepped on a slippery rock and her dress was pulled up a bit, revealing her long white legs. "Miss, be careful!" Axel shouted loudly but did not move forward. Lucy turned around and saw Axel standing there, laughing. This boy is really such a small thing and he's standing there like a statue. "Don't worry, I'm fine." Axel blushed and scratched his head. "No, I was afraid you would fall, not because of me." Lucy adjusted her dress, looking at Axel with mischievous eyes. "Or do you like to look?" The unexpected question made Axel stiffen. He could only chuckle. "Yes, I like it, but I'm just worried you'll fall." In the afternoon, the two decided to stay in a small hut for the night. Lucy was tired after the long journey, and Axel quickly prepared a bedroom. "Don't worry, this hut is sturdy. But there's only one bamboo bed. I can sleep on the floor." Lucy smiled, touched by Axel's thoughtfulness. Night fell, and the weather gradually got colder. Lucy called out, "Axel, it's so cold. Do you have another blanket?" "Yes, there's only this one," Axel replied, handing the blanket to Lucy and turning away. As soon as he lay down, Axel heard Lucy fumbling. Turning back, he saw her pulling back the strings of her nightgown that had slipped. The light from the oil lamp shone on Lucy's smooth silk dress, making Axel confused. "Oh, do you need my help?" Lucy giggled. "How are you going to help me? Tie my dress strings again?" Axel blushed and quickly turned to the wall, thinking, "Why am I so confused?" The next morning, Axel took Lucy to a famous stream in the area. The path down was quite narrow, with tall grass blocking the path. "Stay close to me. Be careful not to slip." Lucy carefully followed Axel, but unfortunately tripped. Her skirt got caught in a chicken trap set by the villagers, stretched and unable to move. "Axel, help!" Lucy screamed when she saw her skirt stretched, as if it would tear apart in just a moment. Axel turned back and saw Lucy's situation, then tried to stay calm. He walked over as quickly as if riding a horse. I'll help," Axel said, bending down to pull the skirt string. However, the angle of approach was not favourable. Axel accidentally touched Lucy's leg. "Ouch! Slowly, are you going to take it off, or what?" Lucy frowned and smiled half reproachfully and half jokingly. Axel blushed as red as a ripe gooseberry and mumbled, "Yes, I'm just taking it off." Finally, after a few minutes of struggling, Axel managed to rescue Lucy. When he stood up, he didn't dare look her in the eye anymore. He just bowed his head awkwardly while Lucy continued to giggle. This was fun. I liked it more and more. The two continued down the mountain, but when they returned to the village, they noticed a strange atmosphere. Some people in the village had started to gossip. Someone saw Axel walking with Lucy and chuckled, whispering to each other, "This Axel guy is really good. He has won over Lucy. She is so rich. Why would she pay attention to a poor, flirtatious boy like him?" Lucy heard and just smiled faintly. "Whatever they say, it's up to them. That's how the world talks. Right, Axel?" Axel scratched his head, looking a little worried. "If you don't, I'm not afraid, but... You see, they call you Grandma. It sounds so old." Lucy laughed, tossed her hair behind her shoulder, her eyes shining. "Then what do you call me?" Axel looked at Lucy and shyly replied, "It's fine to call me Aunt, but you're the most beautiful person I've ever seen." Lucy couldn't help but laugh at the statement. Even though she had been through so much, she still found this young man both naive and interesting, making her heart flutter. One morning, after surveying all the tea hills in the area, Lucy asked Axel, "Hey, are you free tonight?" Axel was a bit surprised, but still nodded and replied, "Yes, I'm free. What do you need?" Lucy smiled gently, her eyes sparkling slightly. "No need. I just want to invite you over to my house, eat and talk. It's been a long time since I had anyone to talk to." Axel heard that and was both excited and shy. "Yes, I came last night." That evening, Axel came to Lucy's house wearing the new clothes he had. Although it was just an old worn-out shirt and grey trousers, it showed respect. When he entered, he was almost bewildered by the modern house in the middle of the village. Lucy appeared in a silk nightgown, light but extremely seductive. The chiffon dress was short enough to reveal her long legs, leaving Axel not knowing where to look. "You sit here. I have no one but a few employees, so having a guest like you is very precious," Lucy said, pouring a glass of water and handing it to Axel. Axel sat down but couldn't help but glance at Lucy. She leaned over to get more flour, revealing a bit of her collar with a delicate slit, making Axel blush and his heart beat erratically. "What are you looking at? Is there something strange about me?" Lucy asked, her eyes flashing with amusement. Axel quickly shook his head. "No, it's nothing. It's just... You look more beautiful than usual today." Lucy laughed loudly, sat down across from Axel, her eyes filled with interest. "You are really sincere." Lucy led Axel into the kitchen to prepare a simple meal, but it seemed that a beautiful and refined woman like Lucy was quite clumsy in the kitchen. "I'm not very good at cooking, you help me," Lucy said as she put the knife down on the table awkwardly. Axel smiled and walked closer. "Yes, let me do it. Be careful." As he spoke, Axel reached over to get the knife, but the distance was too close, causing his hand to accidentally touch Lucy's waist. The strange feeling made both of them stop. "Hey, what are you doing?" Lucy laughed, but her eyes were full of reproach. Axel pulled his hand back and mumbled, "I didn't mean to, I just..." Lucy smiled and stepped aside to make room. "You do it. I can just stand and watch." Axel turned back, trying to concentrate on chopping the vegetables, but the feeling of Lucy watching him from behind made him nervous. Dinner was served, simple but very cosy. Lucy poured a glass of wine and offered Axel a glass. Lucy urged Axel to drink some, but the strong alcohol made him cough. "Well, you're not used to it, but it's fun. It's been a long time since I laughed so freely like this," Lucy said, her gentle eyes looking at Axel in the warm yellow light. Axel couldn't help but ask, "Miss Lucy, why didn't you stay in the city and came back here? Is it boring here?" Lucy paused slightly, her smile slightly sad. "It's because I'm sad that I came back here. I want to find some peace, but maybe you make me much happier." Axel was moved by this but did not know what else to say. Lucy suddenly leaned over and reached out to grab the bottle of wine. This time the light nightgown seemed to betray her, revealing more delicate curves. Axel felt confused and reached out to help with the wine bottle. Their hands accidentally touched, and Lucy smiled and withdrew her hand. "You're too sensitive. I don't have the service you think I do." After eating, Lucy invited Axel to sit outside the door and drink tea. A gentle breeze blew, making Lucy shiver from the cold. Seeing this, Axel took off his coat and gave it to her. "If you're cold, put it on." He spoke in a warm voice. Lucy smiled, put the coat on her shoulders, and felt the warmth from Axel's coat. "You're so thoughtful. Whoever becomes your wife in the future will definitely be very happy." Axel scratched his head and smiled awkwardly. "I haven't thought about that. Why don't you have someone so beautiful?" Lucy laughed, but her voice was full of thoughts. "Not everyone understands me. People look at the outside, but who can stay with me for a long time when they think about it?" Axel was silent, then blurted out, "I think you're very good. It's a pity if you don't know how to appreciate it." Lucy looked at Axel. Her eyes seemed to tremble a little. In that moment, the distance between the two of them seemed closer than ever. Early in the morning, the sky was clear and the wind was gentle. When Axel was busy helping Lucy clean up the backyard, he suddenly heard the screeching sound of a car screeching right in front of the gate. From the shiny car, a man stepped out. He was about Lucy's age, elegant in style, wearing a shiny black suit, his hair slicked back as if he had just sprayed a bottle of conditioner. When Lucy saw him, her face darkened as if she had just bitten a hot pepper. She blurted out, "What are you doing here?" Mr. Bradley, Lucy's ex-husband, put his hands on his hips in the middle of the small yard, laughing loudly. "Ho, ho! I just came to visit you. I haven't missed my ex-wife for a long time." Axel looked at Lucy, then looked back at Bradley, not understanding why this man spoke so strangely. Lucy spoke close, her arms crossed in front of her chest. "Do you think missing someone is enough? We've been divorced for a long time. Why are you still here?" Bradley didn't answer right away, just looked at Axel from head to toe and laughed. "Oh, so this is the reason you moved back to the countryside? Young man, you really know how to choose." Axel heard this and immediately understood that he was talking about him, so he seriously replied, "Uncle, speak clearly. I am just a hired worker for Miss Lucy." Bradley laughed loudly. "A hired worker, ha. The word definitely means hired worker, but what kind of worker is something I don't know." Lucy blushed and became angry, but before she could react, Axel stepped forward and stood in front of her. "Uncle, you're talking about Bradley. Miss Lucy is a good person, not the person you're thinking of." Bradley raised his eyebrows and crossed his arms in front of his chest. "This kid is brave." "All right, I didn't come here today to argue. I want to talk to Lucy privately in the living room." Bradley started to speak in a sweet tone. "Lucy, actually, I still have feelings for you. I've regretted it all these years. I want to make amends. I want to get back with you." Lucy smiled faintly, crossed her arms and leaned back in her chair. "Make amends for what? Tell me. Is it because you're having an affair with the young secretary, or because you sold all my assets to pay off your debts?" Bradley smiled, stroking his shiny hair. "It's old news. You know, I just want the best for both of us." So good that I had to shoulder all your debts and was forced out of my own company. Now that you've come back, don't tell me you're asking me for money." Bradley was silent for a moment and then sighed. "Yes, I'm having a bit of trouble, but if you help me this time, I promise." "Enough!" Lucy jumped up, her voice firm. "Get out of here immediately. Don't cling to me anymore." Axel heard from outside the door and walked in, his eyes filled with determination. "Uncle, you heard it clearly. Miss Lucy doesn't want to see you anymore. Go away." Bradley looked at Axel, his voice almost commanding. "Who are you to talk to me like that?" Axel replied unflinchingly, "I am the one who will protect Miss Lucy. You are not allowed to disturb her." Bradley left, but the matter did not end there. That night, when Axel was cleaning up the plants in the garden, he discovered a car parked right in front of the house. Inside, Bradley and 2 other men were talking in low voices. Not long after, the 3 of them entered the yard. Bradley's voice rang out. "Lucy, have you reconsidered? If you don't agree, I'm afraid things here will not be peaceful." Lucy walked out, hands on hips. "What are you trying to do?" "Are you trying to threaten me?" Bradley sneered, signalling the 2 men beside him. Both of them took a step forward, showing their intention to threaten. But at that moment, Axel rushed out, standing in front of Lucy. "Don't go too far. This is Aunt Lucy's house. You have no right to cause trouble here." Bradley sneered, stepping closer to Axel. "What do you think you can do, kid? Go home. This is none of your business." Axel did not back down, saying loudly, "I don't know what right you have, but I know one thing for sure. Aunt Lucy doesn't want you here. Go away before I call the police." Axel's words made Bradley pause for a moment, but he quickly regained his composure, signalling the 2 men to leave. After Bradley left, Lucy sat down and sighed. "Axel, aren't you afraid? Bradley isn't an easy person to deal with." Axel smiled and replied, "I'm not afraid. If he does anything wrong, the law will deal with it. The important thing is that I don't want you to be bothered." Lucy looked at Axel, her eyes warm. "You're really different. I don't know how to thank you." Axel scratched his head and smiled honestly. "You don't need to thank me. I just want you to be happy." Lucy didn't expect it. She put her hand on Axel's shoulder and said, "You're really special, Axel. I don't know when, but you've become important to me." Axel paused, his heart pounding. He looked at Lucy but didn't say anything. Lucy laughed and withdrew her hand. "I was just joking. You should go home and rest. There's a lot to do tomorrow." The next morning, while Axel was weeding in the garden, suddenly the 2 men from the day before rushed over. One of them growled, "You little brat, you've defied Uncle Bradley. Now you know what it's like." They didn't say much, immediately grabbing Axel and attacking him. Axel tried to resist, but the 2 men were too strong, and as a result, he was beaten up and fell to the ground in the middle of the garden. Luckily, Lucy had just returned from the market and saw the scene, shouting loudly, "What are you doing? Let him go!" The 2 men paused, and when they saw Lucy, they hesitated a bit, but still tried to act strong. "This is a warning. Don't anger Uncle Bradley next time." They left, leaving Axel lying painfully on the ground. Lucy ran over, helped him up, her eyes filled with worry. "Axel, are you okay? Oh my God, why are you so alone?" Axel tried to calm down and smiled faintly. "I'm fine, just a little dizzy." Lucy was annoyed, didn't say much, and went straight into the house. "I'll take care of you." Axel lay on the sofa, watching Lucy hurriedly bring out bandages and antiseptic. He said in pain, "I can do it, Miss Lucy." "Even this boy is really stubborn," Lucy scolded lightly. As she spoke, she lifted Axel's shirt to wipe the wound. At this moment, she suddenly stopped when she saw his strong body. Although Axel was a country boy due to manual labour, his muscles were firm and muscular. Lucy blushed slightly. When Axel saw her stop, he asked in confusion, "What's wrong? Are you embarrassed?" Lucy lowered her head, trying to act normal. "Ah, no, it's just that this wound is too deep. I have to wipe it carefully when disinfecting." When Lucy's hand accidentally brushed against Axel's skin, he felt a ticklish sensation all over his body, as if he was shivering a little, but he didn't say anything. Lucy also noticed it, but she deliberately teased him. "What's wrong? Chicken pox?" Axel was a little confused. "Yes, I'm sorry, it's just a little ticklish." Lucy smiled gently, her eyes flashing with mischief. "Chicken pox? Maybe it's because you're not used to someone else taking care of you, right?" From that day on, Lucy cared more about Axel. She constantly brought him water, food, and asked him about every little thing. Once, when Lucy was helping Axel change his bandages, she accidentally leaned closer, her hair lightly touching his shoulder. Lucy's gentle scent made Axel feel a little moved for a moment. "Miss Lucy, why are you so nice to me?" Axel asked, his eyes bewildered. Lucy smiled lightly, but didn't look directly at Axel and replied, "I feel sorry for you and you make me happy. It's been a long time since I felt like this." That sentence made Axel a little confused. He didn't understand what Lucy meant, but he felt strangely warm inside. One afternoon when Axel was feeling better, Lucy invited him to the kitchen to help cook. This time she wore a loose-necked shirt and a short-waisted skirt, extremely comfortable but somewhat slimming. "You wash the vegetables so I can cut the meat," Lucy said. But when she bent down, her collar was a bit loose, causing Axel to unconsciously look at her. He immediately turned away but could not escape Lucy's keen eyes. "What are you looking at?" she asked, her voice sympathetic. Axel was embarrassed. "No, I was just looking at the meat." Lucy smiled, her eyes teasing. "Oh, but I see you're blushing." Axel could only scratch his head and laugh, but he could not deny that Lucy was becoming more and more attractive to him. That evening, as the two sat on the porch drinking tea, Lucy suddenly said, "Axel, let me ask you something. Do you think about me?" Axel was startled, almost spilling his cup of tea. "What do you mean?" Lucy looked at him, her eyes full of meaning. "I mean, have you ever thought that you and I could be more?" Axel stuttered, not knowing how to answer. He felt that he was just a poor country boy. How could he be worthy of a beautiful and rich woman like Lucy? Lucy laughed, but her smile was full of meaning. "You are so honest. But I'm telling you the truth. If I liked you, would you accept it?" After Lucy's sudden question, the air became silent, only the sound of crickets chirping outside. Axel didn't dare to look her in the eye, only holding the cup of tea and taking a sip to hide his embarrassment. Lucy smiled slightly, stood up and said something meaningful. "Wait here, I have something." A moment later, she returned with an amber bottle of wine and 2 small glass cups. The way she moved in the silk dress that hugged her plump body made Axel couldn't help but secretly look at her. Lucy put the bottle of wine on the table, filled 2 glasses. "I won't force you, but drink a little. Maybe the boy will tell you more honestly." Axel smiled wryly, but didn't refuse. The 2 of them started to raise their glasses. The wine was sweet at first, spicy in the throat, but that warm taste made people's hearts soften. Lucy began to tell. "You know, Axel, I thought my life would be good until the day I married Bradley." Her voice dropped, her eyes sparkling in the oil lamplight. "At first he loved me very much, but as time went on, I realized that all he wanted was my money. After the divorce, I had nothing left but this house. Axel felt his heart ache. He looked into Lucy's eyes, eyes in which he had only found strength and courage. "Miss Lucy, I'm sorry. I didn't think you would have to suffer like this." Axel spoke sincerely. Lucy laughed, but that smile was tinged with bitterness. "There's nothing to apologize for. I'm just sad because I trusted the wrong person. But you know, Axel, since I met you, I've realized that I can still live happily." Lucy borrowed another glass of wine, her cheeks flushed, her eyes sparkling even more. "Axel, I don't know since when, but I really like you. Not to say I love you." The words hit Axel like a punch in the face. He couldn't believe what he had just heard. "Are you serious?" he asked, his voice trembling. Lucy nodded, her eyes looking deeply into his. "I don't need you to answer right away. I just want you to know I can't hide it anymore." Then she burst into tears, tears rolling down her beautiful face. Lucy was both vulnerable and strangely seductive. Axel couldn't sit still. He walked over and knelt down in front of her. "Miss Lucy, don't cry. I don't know when, but I feel the same way." Lucy looked up at him, her eyes filled with surprise and joy. "Really? Axel, you're not lying to me, are you?" Axel took a breath, grabbed her hand, his eyes filled with sincerity. "I'm telling the truth. I love you." Unable to hold back her emotions any longer, Lucy rushed forward and hugged Axel tightly. The scent of her hair blew into his face, making Axel's heart beat faster. "Do you know how long I've waited for this moment?" Lucy whispered, her warm breath fanning over his neck. Axel didn't reply, just tightened his embrace. At that moment, all the gaps in age or status disappeared. Lucy leaned back, her eyes full of invitation. "Axel, I don't need anything, just you by my side. Do you understand?" Axel gently placed his lips on hers. The first kiss was clumsy but full of emotion. The warmth from her lips made him feel like he was lost in a dream. Lucy didn't avoid him, on the contrary, she actively pulled him closer. Her delicate silk shirt seemed to accentuate her soft curves. "Axel, I'm yours," Lucy said softly. Axel could only nod, feeling the sincerity from her arms. Her breath was rapid and her eyes were full of love. As the kiss deepened, Lucy and Axel no longer kept their distance. They hugged each other, feeling the closeness they both craved. The space around them seemed to disappear, leaving only the soft breathing and the synchronized heartbeats of two people burning in love. Lucy whispered, "Axel, I don't need anything. I just need you here right now." Axel responded with sincere eyes. "I won't go anywhere, Lucy. I'm here for you." Those words were like a connecting thread, erasing all boundaries. Lucy leaned on Axel, letting her emotions guide her. In his arms, she felt that she was no longer alone, no longer had the deep wounds of the past. Axel held her like a treasure, his every move filled with respect and love. He not only saw a beautiful woman, but also felt the pain of loneliness she had endured for so many years. "I promise I will do everything to make you happy," Axel said with determination. Lucy smiled slightly, bowing her head. "I believe you, Axel." Axel said nothing. He moved closer to her in a tense silence. The whole world around him seemed to disappear, leaving only the gentle scent of her skin and the pounding of his heart in his chest. He didn't need any more words. Axel pulled Lucy into his arms, his lips finding hers in a passionate kiss. Her lips were soft and sweet, but also full of control, as if she knew exactly what she was doing. Lucy returned his kiss, not rushing but not refusing either. Her hands tangled in his hair, pulling him closer. Her breathing mingled with his, and Axel had no strength left to restrain himself. His hands slid down to her waist, pulling her closer. Lucy didn't resist, just closed her eyes and let him lead. In the darkness of the room, they plunged into each other like two madmen, swept away by a never-ending torrent of desire. Axel pushed Lucy down onto the bed, feeling as if all the pent-up desires had finally been released. He was no longer himself, just a hungry beast, seeking every way to possess and possess her. His fingers slid across her smooth skin, each kiss passionately down her neck, shoulders, and deeper. Soft sounds from Lucy's throat echoed in the darkness, full of sensuality but also mysteriously controlling, as if she had everything in her hands. Axel tightened his grip on Lucy, pulling her into his arms with all the pent-up desire. His lips found hers, kissing her fiercely like a thirsty man who had found his revenge. Their kiss was no longer gentle or reserved, but burning like fire. Lucy responded to the kiss with equal enthusiasm, her soft lips melting in each urgent kiss. Axel's hands roamed her body, exploring every curve as if to engrave it into his mind. Feeling her cool skin under his fingers heating up with desire, Lucy shivered slightly, her breathing becoming rapid as his hand moved down, gliding over her slender waist and then tightening around her hips, pulling her closer to him. She did not resist. Her soft body melted into his, accepting every lead without hesitation. The atmosphere between them was thick with pent-up desire. All principles, all limits were broken. In that moment, there were only two people left, rushing at each other as if this was the last time they would live. In a fit of uncontrollable passion, Axel pressed Lucy down on the bed. His lips left hers, sliding down her neck, penetrating every inch of her skin. Each kiss left a mark on her slender shoulder, making Lucy utter small sounds, like invitations, like needles pricking his last remaining control. "Axel!" Lucy whispered, her breath hitching as the ecstasy flooded her body. But Axel didn't answer. He leaned deeper, greedily taking every part of her body, like he couldn't stop. His fingers slid down her spine, feeling every subtle reaction as her skin trembled under each touch. She wrapped her arms around his neck, pulling him down as if she wanted them to become one, no longer having any space between them. The scent of her body, faintly scented with perfume, made Axel's mind dizzy. He didn't know where he was, nor did he care to know what awaited them. After tonight, this moment was all he had. A moment he couldn't let go of, even though he knew it would have unforeseen consequences. They were wrapped tightly around each other, their movements becoming more and more urgent and wild, their hurried breathing mixed together, filling the quiet room. In that moment, Axel was no longer himself, just a man lost in a fairy world, losing all control over the woman in front of him. Lucy didn't say another word, just closed her eyes and let him take over every part of her body. Her hands threaded into his hair, pulling him closer, as if afraid that if she let go, this moment would disappear. In the pitch-black darkness, they entangled, their bodies tightly pressed together like two people clinging to each other in a flood. Every breath, every touch was like fire burning away any remaining rationality. The room seemed to transform into another world, a world only theirs, where there was no right or wrong, no tomorrow, only tonight and the limitless dream of the ninth cloud. Finally, when everything reached its climax, both of them collapsed on the bed, exhausted, relaxing, their limbs limp. Axel hugged Lucy, his breathing still heavy. She rested her head on his chest, her breathing gradually slowing down, steady as if nothing had just happened. In the dim darkness, they said nothing to each other, just quietly enjoying the brief peace after the storm of emotions. Axel closed his eyes, his arms tightening around her, as if wanting to keep the last bit of warmth before everything disappeared. The next morning, sunlight filtered through the window, gently shining on Lucy's sleeping face. Axel woke up first, silently watching her, Lucy looked so peaceful at this moment, completely different from her usual sharp appearance. Axel gently stroked her hair, smiling happily. "I didn't expect that from a simple gardener. I could enter the life of a special woman like Lucy." Lucy slowly opened her eyes, seeing Axel looking at her. She smiled mischievously. "What are you looking at so closely? Do I have something on my face?" Axel blushed. "No, Head. I just think you're beautiful." Lucy laughed, reaching out to pull him closer. "You're so honest, but I like you for that." After that night, the relationship between Lucy and Axel was no longer that of master and servant, but had become two true lovers. They worked together, took care of the garden, and shared the small joys of everyday life. Although the distance, age, and the curious looks from outsiders were still there, Lucy and Axel did not let that bother them. They knew that the most important thing was the love and harmony they had for each other. That afternoon, Axel and Lucy returned home together after a shopping trip. The two of them chatted as they walked, their laughter echoing through the deserted country road. Lucy wore a light, comfortable dress, as if all her troubles were behind her. Suddenly, the sound of a motorbike engine sounded behind them, startling them both. Axel turned around, his eyes immediately tensing up when he realized it was Bradley, Lucy's ex-husband. The motorbike was carrying 3 people, and behind Bradley were 2 other men. Bradley stopped, shouting loudly, his eyes full of resentment. Axel squeezed Lucy's hand tightly, saying softly, "I'll hold you tight. Run fast. Don't worry." The two of them rushed onto the trail leading into the forest, the sound of hurried footsteps and pounding hearts, mixed with the sound of the car chasing behind. Axel ran while carrying Lucy. When the road started to slope, his steps became heavier, but he did not stop. "Axel, put her down, she's exhausted," Lucy said worriedly. "No, I won't let anything happen to her," Axel replied, his eyes determined. They finally reached a clearing in the woods, where a small stream was babbling. Axel put Lucy down, panting, but still trying to smile comfortingly. "Are you okay?" Lucy shook her head, but her eyes were filled with gratitude as she looked at Axel. The sweat dripping down his muscular body showed his utmost effort to protect her. Lucy sat by the stream, dipping her bare feet in the cool water. She bent down slightly to scoop up some water to wash her face, each glistening drop running down her neck and shoulders, highlighting her fair skin. Axel sat not far away, trying not to look directly, but his eyes could not hide the excitement. The evening light filtered through the leaves, reflecting on Lucy's hair, making her look like a perfect picture in nature. Lucy turned back and met Axel's longing gaze and laughed. "What are you thinking about, looking at me like that?" Axel bowed his head slightly. "I just think you're beautiful." The sentence made Lucy pause, her heart beating faster. She quietly approached Axel, her eyes gentle but also full of emotion. "You know, Axel, I never thought I would feel like this again. You make me believe that I'm still worthy of love." Axel looked at her, his eyes filled with love. "Me too. I don't know why, but from the moment I met you, I just wanted to protect you, to make you happy." The two of them didn't say another word. They just looked at each other, feeling the harmony from their eyes to their heartbeats, as if unable to control themselves. Axel gently pulled Lucy closer. Their kiss started hesitantly but quickly became deep, as if releasing all the pain and loneliness they had both experienced. Under the light of Bradley kissing by the clear stream, they let their emotions lead the way, erasing all the gaps in age or circumstances. The remaining moments between the two seemed to burn with wild nature. The sound of the stream mixed with Lucy's rapid breathing, creating a wonderful harmony. They hugged each other on a large rock by the stream, making the natural beauty here fade before their intense love. An hour later, Lucy leaned her head on Axel's shoulder and whispered, "Promise me, no matter what happens, don't leave me, Axel." Axel held her hand tightly, his eyes filled with determination. "I promise. You are my everything." They hugged each other again in the middle of the forest. Now, Lucy has found warmth and completeness with Axel, a young man but full of vitality and sincerity. That night, they decided to stay together, making each other happy in the wild forest. The next morning, after a night filled with joy, Lucy and Axel returned home. Lucy entered the familiar house, the place she once thought was a happy home, but now it became a place to keep dark memories. Axel walked beside her, always ready to protect, his eyes shining with determination. "Don't worry, I will protect you, but we need a plan," Axel said in a determined voice. "Miss Lucy, we need to notify the police. Bradley has threatened and violated your rights. We must act before he hurts you any more." Lucy sat in the living room, her eyes pensive. She thought, "Bradley is no longer the man I loved. Every time he appeared, I just felt scared. But this time, I won't let him do anything anymore." Axel sat down next to her, his eyes full of support. Lucy thought for a moment, then she stood up, went to the desk, opened a small drawer, and took out a notebook. She quickly wrote a few lines and then turned back to hand it to Axel. "This is the evidence I've kept all this time. The calls, the messages, the letters he sent. These are enough to hold him accountable before the law." Axel held the notebook and flipped through each page carefully. He nodded, determination evident in his eyes. "We'll go to the police station right now. This evidence will be the basis for arresting Bradley." Lucy nodded in agreement. The two quickly got to work. Lucy prepared the documents and provided all the necessary information, while Axel helped her approach the police. A few hours later, Lucy and Axel arrived at the police station. Initially, the officers treated Lucy with suspicion, but when she presented the evidence and detailed testimony, their attitude changed. "The evidence is very clear. We will summon Bradley for investigation," said one officer. "Thank you for your cooperation." Lucy felt a little relieved, but she knew that this was only the first step in a long battle. Bradley was not someone to be defeated easily. Axel stood by her side, his eyes full of encouragement. He knew that despite the many challenges ahead, they would not let Bradley harm Lucy again. A few days later, Lucy received a notice from the authorities that Bradley had been summoned for questioning. She felt justice served, knowing that the man who had tormented her would now pay for his actions. Axel was always by her side, his eyes steady and protective. He was not only her companion in times of trouble, but also her support in new challenges. A few weeks later, Bradley was arrested and brought to trial. With convincing evidence, Bradley's acts of intimidation and assault were clearly proven. He was convicted and given the appropriate punishment. Lucy saw justice being served, but most of all she felt relief in her heart. "Thank you, Axel. Without you, I don't know what I would do," Lucy said, her eyes filled with emotion. Axel looked at Lucy, smiling softly. "I just did what I had to do. You deserve a peaceful life." They stood together, and nothing could separate the love they had built together through all the storms. After the trouble with Bradley was resolved, Lucy and Axel returned to their normal lives. However, the peace they had just found did not last long. Lucy still had a large fortune and had to deal with debts, as well as the fact that her assets had not been properly managed over the years. "Axel, have you ever thought about what we could do more? Not only keep the house, but also help this countryside develop?" Lucy asked, her eyes far away. Axel sat on the porch, lit a cigarette, and looked towards the mountains in the distance. "The trails around this area have never failed to be beautiful. The green fields, the clear water, the cool air, this is an ideal place to develop an eco-tourism model. Why not? This area has beautiful scenery, fresh air, and there are not many good resorts. If we build a tourist area, we can attract visitors from the cities to rest, relax, and explore nature, Axel said, his eyes lighting up with a new idea. Hearing that, Lucy's eyes also lit up. This is the opportunity I've been looking for, not only to improve their lives, but also to help the surrounding community, creating an economic foundation for the locality. We can build an eco-tourism area, combining relaxation and rural experiences. This hometown has a lot of untapped potential, Lucy said excitedly. The two immediately set to work. With the help of some locals, they planned to renovate a large plot of land nearby, which had the most beautiful scenery. They decided to build guest houses, bungalows, tents, and organize activities such as harvesting crops, hiking, and fruit picking. Lucy and Axel met with contractors and design experts to improve the quality of the project. The work was not easy, but the two persevered because they knew that this was Axel's best path to making his dream come true. As each day passed, the construction site became more and more complete. Axel was in charge of the heavy work from building houses, making roads, and taking care of the gardens, while Lucy and the women in the village prepared the menu, designed the tour program, and created entertainment activities for visitors. One morning, when Axel had just finished building a small wooden house, Lucy walked through the construction site with a proud look in her eyes. "Axel, you're really good," she said, a bright smile on her face. "What do you think about opening a traditional cooking class? We can teach tourists how to make our hometown specialties," Lucy asked, her eyes filled with hope. Axel chuckled and patted her on the shoulder. "That's a great idea. It will definitely attract visitors and create a highlight for the tourist area." After several months of tireless work, Lucy and Axel's first resort was completed. The facilities they created were not only modern, but also preserved the wild beauty of nature. On a beautiful day, they held an opening ceremony for the resort with the participation of the villagers and some guests. Axel stood on stage and spoke proudly. "We dream of bringing a new breeze to this countryside and at the same time creating a safe place for people to relax. Not just building a resort, we want this place to be a place where people can find peace of mind, immerse themselves in nature, and find the simple values of life." Axel's eyes shone with strong belief, making everyone moved. After the opening, the resort gradually attracted the attention of tourists. They came from big cities, looking for this place to get away from the hustle and bustle of urban life. Tourists not only enjoyed specialties such as bamboo rice, grilled chicken, grilled fish, but also participated in interesting activities such as mountain climbing, trekking, bathing in streams, or participating in handicraft classes. Lucy and Axel were proud to see the beautiful small wooden houses growing up in the middle of the forest, the happy laughter of tourists echoing everywhere. Every day they received more and more returning tourists and endless compliments about the landscape and service. One afternoon, Lucy sat down next to Axel, both of them looking out at the crowded tourist area. Lucy said, her eyes sparkling, "Axel, we did it. This is my dream, and I'm so happy to have you by my side." Axel looked at Lucy, smiling warmly. "You deserve all the best. I will always be by your side." The tourist area is growing stronger and stronger, attracting more and more domestic and foreign tourists. Lucy and Axel not only beautify their homeland, but also create jobs for local people. They continue to expand the scale, improve the quality of services, and come up with new ideas to enhance the experience for tourists. With determination and love for their homeland, Lucy and Axel have proven that sometimes the small efforts of each individual can change a whole land. Their love is built on the foundation of cooperation, sharing, and empathy, which is the key to opening up a bright future. Lucy and Axel's story is not only a journey of overcoming difficulties, but also a symbol of the desire to build a better life. Ladies and gentlemen, our story will stop here. Hopefully, it has brought the most interesting and wonderful emotions. If you find this story interesting, don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment about your thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next interesting stories. And now, Jane would like to say goodbye and see you again in the next videos. Wish you a very happy day.